Good morning to you. It's a Monday. Welcome to another edition of Weather Academy. I'm meteorologist Tom DeVecchio, my cohort in sky blue there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Azure blue, North Carolina blue.
There you go. Very nice. It matches the sky very well today.
Blue sky today, yeah. So I got I got two of my favorite colors. I got the orange and a little blue. Anyway.
Oh, there you go. A little Syracuse look there.
That's right. Actually, it is a Syracuse shirt, but I'm all mic'd up otherwise.
Keeping in mind, Craig is a New Yorker.
Yes.
Not New York City, but
Upstate.
upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
Big
Syracuse
Syracuse country there, and again, appropriately done today.
That's where I wanted to go to college, but they didn't have a meteorology program.
No,
and my
they
parents looked at the bill and they said nope.
I get it. Believe me, I get it. Well, we're talking about a topic that, the way April's gone is something that you may not be thinking about right now.
Not going to have to worry about it in April, but we are going towards summer, so it's,
we are,
and topic.
We probably should be talking wind chill here a little bit here, but it's a very important topic in the summertime. Most of us, we talk about severe weather, we know some of the safety rules of severe weather and what it is, but when it comes to health, you got to pay attention to the heat.
Yeah, it's actually probably one of the most underrated killers when it comes to weather, because people don't really think about it. It's just hot out, but that takes a toll on your body. It can stress you out. You can become dehydrated. And when it's those hot summer days that we're all longing for right now, we have to factor in a heat index. So you might have heard that term before. What is a heat index? So that's what it actually feels like to your epidermis, i.e. skin.
On your skin.
And you need to take proper precautions to protect yourself from that because, again, heat is dangerous. Just like cold can be dangerous, heat is also dangerous. So let's kind of dive in and talk about what is heat index. So obviously, you factor in a couple things here. Temperature, and relative humidity combined, and that measures how hot it really feels when you factor in the relative humidity with the air temperature, how it feels to your body. And the thing is when it's a sunny day in the summer and it's hot and it's humid, that sun, because it's very powerful, can increase the heat index value by 15 degrees.
So if the temperature is 80 degrees, the heat index could be as much as 95.
Right. So that's kind of that is the definition of what heat index is. And it's something to be mindful of, especially if you're out and about in the summertime, playing kickball, baseball, whatever the case may be. Probably in your backyard this year, but nonetheless, it's something that you got to be mindful of as you head into the summer. Now, calculations. When we talk about heat index,
meteorologists love calculations and love math. If you knew all the calculations going to computer models that we talked about before, it would blow your mind. Cindy, pop this up here. This is the index, the heat index equation. Check it out. Now, T is temperature, RH is relative humidity, and I didn't look at this before you went on, but I see a lot of T's and RH's, and 1, 2, 3. Whoa.
We won't go into this. Okay. We just wanted to give you an example and show you what the heat index equation looks like. All we could really say is, whoa, that's a lot of math. And I couldn't even do it, okay? So don't be scared by it. We were just trying to show you an example. Although there will be a test at the end of this.
Yes, I believe your teachers did that. Yes, there's a tester. Yeah, I couldn't do it with a computer, much less anything else. So, yeah.
And we're just kidding about the test. But, yeah, that's a look at what the heat index equation is. So all those numbers and letters, when you calculate all that, gives you the heat index value. Again, the sun increases those values by 15 degrees. So just an example of the kind of equations that we deal with in meteorology. Not on a daily basis, and it's not like we're back there crunching those numbers all the time. We have computers that do that
We would
for
never
us.
go home if we
You're
had
right.
to crunch them like that. We'd be
Yeah.
here 24/7.
Yeah, but we wanted to kind of give you a snapshot into what that equation looked like. And again, we're not gonna give you a test.
No, we won't.
A lot of math though, for something that seems so simplistic.
Right.
You know, heat index. You know, you factor in relative humidity, air temperature, and the sun
Voila.
increasing
I mean,
it by
it should be
15
nice and
degrees.
simple. But no, as you can
Well,
see, it is
that's what goes
quite
into it.
complicated.
Yeah. So let's kind of put this into perspective for you. And the best real life example of this is cars in the summer. And we unfortunately hear about it all the time in the summer. People leave their animals in the cars. Unfortunately, some cases, little babies and humans are left inside cars. For whatever the reason, not a good reason to do that at all. That is kind of like what we're going to use to put this into some real life context for you. So, as we continue our exploration of heat index, let's talk about what happens when it's 90 degrees outside and what happens inside the car.
And again, all you have to do is look at the numbers here. So, I mean, 90 is hot as it is when you're not in a car. But if you're inside a car with the windows all rolled up and the car off, after 10 minutes, you can see after 10 minutes, the temperature goes up 10 degrees to 109. And in 20 minutes, 119. Now, you figure even after 10 minutes, typically, even if you're just going to the drugstore to pick up a pack of gum or aspirin or something like that, you're typically in there for 10 minutes by the time you go find it, go in line. Hopefully the line is short. So that's what 10 and 20 minutes are very important. Now you leave like a dog in there for 60 minutes, as you can see, 133 degrees. The hottest temperature on Earth is about 133, the hottest on record there. So, and 80 degrees, you say, well, that shouldn't be too bad. No, check it out. After 20 minutes, you are still over 100 degrees. And when you're a young child or, again, an animal, you know, we cool down by sweating. That means we need water. Now, you and Craig and I are adults. You know, we have a decent amount of water in us. But kids and animals have a lot less water. And that's why the heat index is very important, you know, because it can lead, you know, to what we'll discuss soon here, heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
Yeah. So that's kind of the snapshot and the context that we wanted to put this into perspective for you when we talk about heat index. So even though the temperature dial on a thermometer will read either 80 or 90 or 85 or whatever the case may be, you factor in what it actually feels like to your skin. And you can see those numbers get pretty extreme. So that's why heat's nothing to mess around with. And the other thing, side note to that, is if you have like a blacktop parking lot and you're outside on a hot sunny day and you stand near that blacktop parking lot, what do you feel? You feel all that heat radiating off of it, right? So think about the people who are out working on the roads and bridges and overpasses and stuff like that on those hot summer days. Really, the key to beating the heat is hydration and water.
Hydration, hydration,
yeah.
hydration.
You need to get a steady dose and a healthy dose of intake of water to really beat the heat. So nothing to mess around with. So what happens if your body starts to, I don't want to say, so let's just say if your body starts becoming impacted by extreme heat.
Yeah, you start feeling the warning signs that something is wrong and that you're, you know, just like when you have a cold, you know, your nose starts to run and you get a little congested. Your body's telling you, hey, we got a cold here. Well, your body also tells you about things with heat and when your body's starting to get stressed.
This is an important graphic.
Extremely.
So we'll show this to you and we'll leave it up there for a little bit. Again, talking about as we head into summer and heat index, there's a difference between heat exhaustion or heat stroke. And this is a pretty cool little graphic from the National Weather Service, Sacramento. thank you to them that kind of put this out there as a checklist for you. If you're out and about on a hot summer day, we'll kind of discuss here, Tom, the difference between heat exhaustion or heat stroke. So pick your poison. Which one do you want to go with?
Well, we'll go. We'll go with I don't want to say the lesser of two evils here, but we'll start with heat exhaustion because that's probably what most of you as kids would feel like, especially as Craig mentioned earlier when you're talking about playing soccer. You know, a lot of games they try to do early morning and late evening, but some are in the afternoon, in the heat of the day. And some of the warning signs that you might be getting the beginnings of heat exhaustion. The first thing you notice is faint. You start to feel faint. You start to feel dizzy. If you're running, maybe you're playing hard for about a half hour and saying like, whoa, I'm feeling kind of dizzy. You're feeling a little wobbly. You start to feel a little bit of nausea. Those are two of the signs that your body's saying, hey, we've got some problems. Muscle cramps is another one. You're running hard and then suddenly your muscles cramp up. That can happen without heat exhaustion, but when you combine the dizziness, the nausea, or maybe you throw up or vomit, and muscle cramps, that's the first sign, along with really excessive sweating. Your body's just wet. It's a sign that you may have heat exhaustion. So what do you do? Now, when you feel that way, the first thing you need to do is get to an adult, okay, and tell them, hey, I don't feel good. Now, they feel your skin. If it's clammy, if your pulse is weak and rapid, the first thing you need to do is get to cooler air.
Right.
You have to cool down. Just like when you're very cold, what did he tell you? The first thing is get inside a warm building. Now get into a cool, preferably air-conditioned building if you can. Drink water. If you're not too dizzy or not too faint, you can drink water. Don't gulp it. Sip it. Okay, and take a cool shower, cool compress, and basically sit and relax until you get your water back up and you get your and you start to feel a little bit better.
Start to regulate that temperature a little bit.
That is heat exhaustion.
And that's more common.
Yes, much more common, absolutely.
In the summer. However, on the flip side of that, you take it up a notch here, and when we talk about heat stroke, now these signs, some of them are the same, some of them are different. So with heat stroke, as opposed to heat exhaustion where you just kind of get that faint or dizzy feeling, heat stroke, you will get a throbbing headache. You'll notice it. And the other thing that's kind of interesting when it's a heat stroke is you don't sweat. There's no sweating involved with a heat stroke. And the body temperature, the core body temperature, is above 103 degrees, and your skin will take on that red hot, dry feel, as opposed to the heat exhaustion where it's that cool, clammy feel. When your skin is red, hot, or dry, not sweating though, and a throbbing headache, those are 3 warning signs for a heat stroke. The two that mirror each other here are the nausea with heat stroke and heat exhaustion. You can get both of those symptoms. The difference here with the pulse is with heat stroke, it's rapid and strong, whereas, your pulse with a heat exhaustion is a little bit more weak. And if it's serious enough, and it certainly can be with heat stroke, you could lose consciousness, you could faint, you could pass out. So the difference here is what you want to do if someone has all of those symptoms. The only course of action to take is call 911 and get that person help immediately. And it would help to get them to a cooler environment as well. But at that point, it becomes a little bit less manageable for you personally.
Absolutely.
And you need medical attention.
Yeah, definitely don't delay on that. And if you want to come back to us, Cindy, why is it important we talk about no sweating? The way our bodies cool ourselves, there's 2 ways, okay? Perspiration, circulation. The way the body heats itself, the reason you sweat, the evaporation of the sweat off your body takes the heat with it, and that's what causes us to cool down. So if you're perspiring a lot, your body is basically trying to get all that excess water off and trying to dispel the heat through the perspiration. And so when you're really hot, you sweat more. And when it's humid, it doesn't evaporate as much,
Right.
and that's why things get kind of rough. Craig mentioned that when you get to heat stroke, you stop sweating. Okay, basically what that means is that your body, it's almost like running a car where the radiator's totally dry. There's no water in it to cool the engine. Your body now has shifted from sweating. You have so little water that your body no longer has water to evaporate. Then what it does is your pulse starts to increase and the blood vessels in your skin expand to try to get the heat out that way. That's why you have a rapid, strong pulse with heat stroke. Your heart is pumping faster, trying to dispel the heat because its first line of cooling doesn't work. So when you're not sweating and you're cool and you're hot, you know, you're beyond just drinking water. That's why we say, call 911, get to the hospital right away.
And it's kind of the same, just tying it back to weather real quick. You know, evaporation is a cooling process in the atmosphere. So it's the same deal with your body. Like when you get out of the shower, you feel cold.
Yes.
Because
Get out of
that
the pool.
water's-
What do you do? Give me,
Yeah.
even though it's 90, you still want to get a towel.
Right, exactly. So just, well, we wanted to discuss this really quick, and we are heading into the summer. So this is just something to keep in the back of your mind. Heat exhaustion versus heat stroke. It is important to know the difference, and it's important to not mess around when it gets to be those sweltering summer days, which are on the way. They're coming.
They are. And, you know, if you look at some of our summer temperatures over the past decade, 10 years, we've had more days where it's been 85 or higher and more 90-plus days. They tend to be in a narrower range, okay? Our Junes still seem to be cool.
Right.
But from mid-June until the end of August, we tend to have more days with 90-plus. So it is something that's very
So the takeaways: water, stay hydrated, enjoy that summer weather, and remember, when it's that hot, humid summer day, remember the heat index, just add 15 degrees to the actual air temperature and watch for those signs of either heat stroke or heat exhaustion. Important takeaways. We want you to have fun, but we want you to be safe as well.
Absolutely. So the question is,
Yeah. What's inspiring you? Keep thinking about that, kids, okay? Find out what you're interested in, learn about it, and maybe someday you could turn it into a line of work and get paid for it. In the meantime, if you have topics that you want us to discuss, we're going to delve into some weather history here in the next couple weeks as well. Or if you have weather questions, send them to us. The email right there on the bottom of the screen, weather@wjettv.com.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that is our Weather Academy for today. Hopefully you are inspired, and hopefully you learned a little bit about the heat index, or THI as it's sometimes called.
The hot topic.
Yes, it's a hot topic and a humid topic as well. Appreciate it as always. Craig and I will be back on Wednesday with more inspirational weather talk. Until then, for Craig, thank you so much for joining us. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Take care.